And yesterday we went through the general description of what is aura, then what are the chakras, the different chakras, the names of the chakras, and what is the significance of that in a basic level. I think everyone had noted down yesterday clearly. Still, just to give a recap, because this is a practical session, this is a practical workshop which we had mentioned in the beginning. So it takes time to assimilate, because we are all getting into something which is really a scientific and a spiritual, both combined basis of a practice, which we have to assimilate, taking time. So we just go for a recap of what we went through yesterday. Let us have the first slide where we describe the chakras. Before that, when we had mentioned about aura, simple way we had mentioned that it is the energy flow from the body of everyone which emanates, that is, which emits out, and which is seen as color zones or energy zones around us, depending on the flow of energy in our south as aura in our body. That is what is aura in a simple way, which we had mentioned yesterday as a definition of aura for a layman in a simple way. Now coming to the chakras, which we mentioned, which are connected to this aura, in the sense the chakras which actually churn the energies to emit out in our body as aura. And what were the chakras? Yesterday we started from the root chakra, that is the base of our body, to the top, that is Padadi Kesham in Sanskrit. That is from the base to the head, from the feet to the head. So from the root chakra to the crown chakra, the 7 chakras. Now we are going from the head to the base, which we are describing in this slide. You will be seeing in this slide that the first chakra which we termed was the Sahasrara chakra. That is, yesterday we had taken it from the base, that is the root chakra. So we reached the 7th chakra, which was the crown chakra. Now we are starting from the top. So located at the top of the head, the crown chakra in English, and in Sanskrit mentioned as Sahasrara chakra. Sahasra is 1000. Everyone knows that in Sanskrit, Sahasra means 1000. Why 1000? 1000 means there is a lot of, because it's in the top of the head, that is the brain, where there is a lot of nerve points and thousands of nerve points, actually a trillion of neurons. As I had yesterday said, neurons are nerve points and neurons are neurotransmitters in the body of a human, and that is Sahasrara. Sahasrara chakra, which is in the top of the head. And then we have the next chakra, which is the third eye chakra in between our 2 eyes. That is known as the third eye chakra in English, which is known as Agnya chakra in Sanskrit. What is Agnya? Agnya means in Sanskrit and in Hindi, we always know it in simple way, saying that Agnya is an order. So it's an order. What is an order? Orders are given to the brain from the pineal gland, which is the endocrine gland associated with this chakra, right? Likewise, the crown chakra is associated with the pituitary gland, which is a very master gland in the endocrine system. Now coming to the third chakra, first I'm describing the chakras in a simple way, then we go into the endocrine system, which is connected with that, because both are chakras. As I had mentioned yesterday, these are chakras which I am mentioning now, which are Parakosha chakras, that is the nerve points, which is behind in the body system, in the skeletal system. Now coming to the next chakra in the order, which is the throat chakra. After the middle eye chakra, that is between the eyes, the third eye chakra, that is the Agnya chakra, we are coming to the throat chakra at the throat, which is known as the Vishuddhi chakra in Sanskrit. Vishuddhi means Shuddhi, that is the purity. Why purity? Why it is mentioned and associated with purity? The throat is the place where we have the vocal cord, where we have the thyroid and parathyroid glands, where we have the larynx, which is all linked to the communication, which is all linked to the speech of a person. The speech of a person is very important to be pure. That is when you are able to communicate and associate and get achieving with people and in a society and in your own achievement and communication skills. So throat chakra is very important, especially in everyone's life. So Vishuddhi chakra is very important. All the chakras are important equally, but then each one has a particular significance. That's why I mentioned it here. Now coming in the order, the next chakra in the body, which is the heart chakra, which is the, as you see, it is heart chakra, heart, and it is the center of the chest near the heart. And this chakra in Sanskrit is known as Anahatabja chakra, Anahatabja. Anahatabja, why Anahata? Anahata is involuntary, limitless action, because involuntary action is a heartbeat. Even if you sleep, the heartbeat happens without your control. That is Anahata, and it is limitless, and that is the essence of life. That is why the heart chakra is equally important in all the chakra harnessing. Now coming to in the order, the next chakra is the solar plexus chakra. Solar plexus chakra, which is in the area of your navel, which is known as Manipura chakra in Sanskrit. Manipura. Yesterday, as we had seen, Manipura, the meaning, Pura is fulfillment, and Mani is a gem that is a navel, which has the stomach, which is the button of the stomach, and the stomach which has the entire major systems of our body. In the medical way, in a normal medical way, if you see the pancreas, liver, all the organs, whatever you name it. So that is the stomach chakra, which is very important, where we have the Jataragni, which is mentioned in Sanskrit. Jataragni is the hydrochloric acid, the process which digests and creates all the digestion. Once the digestion in the body becomes proper, that is when everyone is comfortable. That's why in olden days, they used to say, when the stomach is good, you feel very comfortable. Agathin alagu mukhathil theriyum. Poets used to say Agathin alagu. They meant the inner self. But scientifically, if you see, Agathin alagu, when your stomach is comfortable, you feel very pleasant talking to somebody. You feel very pleasant the whole day. And that is what is the Manipura chakra. Now coming to the next chakra in the order, which is the sacral chakra, which is the lower abdomen below your navel, which is the actual reproductive organs, which is required for the procreation, for the creative energy flow in a body, for the progeny, for generations to come. And that is why it is known as Swadhisthana chakra. Swadhisthana. Swad means the taste, the desire, kama and the desire. That is what is Swadhisthana chakra. Then we have the root chakra in the order, which is the base of all the chakras, which is actually in the base of the spine. And this is known as the Mooladhara. Why Mooladhara? Moolam means the root, and Adhara means the, you know the meaning of Adhara. Adhara is the authority of everything. Why Mooladhara? That is the seat of your decisions. That is the spine. Many times we would have heard as a joke, people say, oh, that man or that person is spineless. No, there is no spine. Mudugelimbe illapa, avan pesarke seri illapa, ena mudugelimbu. Why that saying has come? It is a very scientific and spiritual way of saying it. When this root chakra is strong, a person has a lot of decisions which become strong. Root chakra is the base, and that is why root chakra is known to have the Kundalini energy. The energy in root chakra is known as Kundalini energy. And we would have heard a lot about Kundalini yoga, which many saints, many yoga masters practice even today. And every one of you is aware of that. Now, coming to these chakras which have been described in this order, yesterday we took it from the base to the top. Today we took it from the top to the base, because why this was done, there is a significance to that. It is like an osmosis, reverse osmosis in the body. How the circulation of the body happens. The same way, the nerve flow from the brain to the other parts of the body, from top to bottom, the endocrine flow, which simultaneously happens and balances it. And that is why I mentioned these chakras here, which we have put in this slide, is the nerve points, scientifically speaking, which have to be harnessed, which is known as the Parakosha chakras. Please note, this is known as the Parakosha chakras and the Sukshma chakra. Why it is Sukshma? Sukshma means hidden inside. Where it is hidden inside? Beneath all the bones, beneath the nerves, between them, and engulfed between tissues. That is where you have the endocrine glands, which are the Sukshma chakras. Equally, based on these chakras, you have each one gland associated with this, which is known as the Sukshma chakra, that is the endocrine glands. And now describing that also, which yesterday we did, but I am just listing that also for you to take a note, equally corresponding to this chakras, which will give you a clear picture of, then only we get an idea how to harness it to achieve our aura, see our aura, and practice things. So now, associated with the crown chakra, the Sahasrara, we have 3 glands actually. Now you can see in this slide the qualities of that also, which I'll describe with the colors of the aura. Now coming to first the chakra associated, the endocrine glands associated, that is the Sukshma chakras associated with the Parakosha chakra. The Sahasrara, the crown chakra, is associated with hypothalamus. Kindly note these organs: hypothalamus, pituitary, and these 2 glands which are associated with the Sahasrara. Crown chakra is the hypothalamus and pituitary. Kindly note this. Mainly the pituitary, for your information. Why hypothalamus? Though I mentioned in the beginning, I am little bit avoiding that, is because I'll give you another point here, which is very important. Apart from this chakras, though it is not classified into the chakra classification, we have something called as Brahmarandra. Kindly note this, Brahmarandra. It is also mentioned slightly as a chakra. Yes.
So, sorry, this is Preeti Andi. Even I had this question yesterday. You've been referring to Sukshma chakra, right? Where is it exactly? Like, I don't see it. What is the Sukshma chakra? And could you even explain, like, what is this endocrine system and endocrine gland you say, right? But I don't see it in any of the chakra. So it might be a dumb question. Sorry if it is.
No, it is not at all a dumb question. In fact, yesterday I had mentioned this, but I was a little fast yesterday, I think, and that is the reason it has been difficult for everyone to assimilate. That's why I'm giving you a recap now today. Actually, the endocrine system is a system in the body, everyone knows, which secretes hormones, which are in the front portion of your body. And this Parakosha chakra, that is the nerve points, which we are mentioning here in the aura cleansing, is in the back portion of your spine from the head. Both are associated in what way? If you see, one secretes hormones, that is the Sukshma chakra, which is inside. Why Sukshma I mentioned is because the endocrine gland is in between the tissues and inside in the front portion of your body, and the nerve points are all in the back portion of your body. That is the reason I mentioned this. And how it is associated is, when the endocrine glands secrete the hormones in the front portion and it enters your bloodstream and the entire system of the nerves and everything to regulate your nerve system, which is the Parakosha chakra, behind your body through the vertebra and through the neck vertebra and through your brain, it gives signals to the entire body. So both act communicating to each other in a directly connected way, though there is no connection in terms of a a string or whatever it is, but it is a connection through the hormones and the neurons. It is exactly the neurons in this Parakosha chakra and the hormones in the endocrine glands. That is the connection, Preeti. And here I am associating this exactly with the yes.
Because we are comprised of 7 chakras, right? So where is the Sukshma chakra? Okay, Paraposhaka chakra is the behind. You're saying like
the Parakosha chakras are the chakras which we have. Parakosha chakras are the chakras, the nerve plexus, medically speaking, which is described as Mooladhara and all these chakras, which I mentioned in the beginning, the slide, which is the crown chakra, then the Agnya chakra, all these things, the 7 chakras.
Yeah, the 7 chakras I understand. Where is the Sukshma chakra?
Sukshma chakra is the one which is in the front portion inside the organs, which is the endocrine gland. The endocrine gland is known as the Sukshma chakra. because it secretes the hormones which also act with these neurons to harness the aura in you to emit it out in the body.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's why I'm
Uh-huh.
connecting this both together and giving you an exact picture, which this thing will not be mentioned in any net or Google, because this is something which is in Granthas, old scriptures, which is the actual text. That's why I'm giving you that scientifically, openly, because there is nothing to hide. Knowledge has to be shared. There is nothing to hide.
So you're
Right?
saying that, in addition to these 7 chakras, you have another 2 chakras, which is Sukshma chakra and Paraposhaka chakra, right?
It is not in addition to it. Paraposha and Sukshma are 2 parts of one chakra itself. That is, both are connected. Each chakra of the Paraposha, which is the usual chakras mentioned in any text in the modern times, which is the Paraposha chakra, which is actually connected to the endocrine gland, which is the second part of the same chakra, which is inside in the front portion. Both act together and harness the energy to emit the aura, scientifically speaking.
So these 2 chakras kind of intertwine and give the energy to these 7 chakras, because I see
the energy. No, give the energy to the body to emit the aura.
Okay.
Now I am associating the gland exactly now. Sahasrara is associated with pituitary, the master gland in your forehead. Okay.
Yeah, these 7 chakras are super clear. So because I kind of hearing some I don't see the Sukshma chakra and Paraposhaka chakra in this picture, right? So I'm getting a little confused.
This picture I am going to describe now very in detail after this, which will take few minutes. Okay. Actually, why I am associating the endocrine gland is you get a clear picture of Paraposha and Sukshma and the aura. That's the reason. Then I'll describe this. Now coming to this, pituitary is the thing associated with Sahasrara chakra. The Sukshma chakra of Sahasrara is pituitary gland. The Sukshma chakra of your Ajna is the pineal gland. Kindly note. And the Sukshma chakra of your Vishuddhi is in the throat, which is the thyroid and parathyroid, which is in the neck, in the front portion. Then you have the next chakra, that is the Anahataja, that is the heart chakra. The heart chakra has the thymus gland, the endocrine gland associated, which is in between the lungs, below the sternum. Then you have the Manipura chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the stomach, which is having the pancreas, the biggest endocrine gland in the body, the Sukshma chakra, which is associated with Manipura. They both act together. Now coming to Swadhisthana. Swadhisthana, the sexual organs are the Swadhisthana chakra, where that is for ladies, it is the ovaries, for men, it is the testicles. Okay. Then coming to the Mooladhara chakra. Mooladhara chakra is the chakra associated with your adrenalins. The gland is adrenalins, which is in the top of the kidneys. Got it?
Mama, I just missed the second and the third one, the Agnya chakra and Vishuddhi chakra glands. Could you just repeat those 2 alone, please?
Agnya chakra, third eye chakra is the pineal gland, Pineal, pineal gland. In the pituitary and pineal gland secretions, சரியா இல்லாதவாதான் குழந்தைகள் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சடனா ஃபுட்னால இல்ல ரொம்ப ஒபேஸ் ஆகி உடம்பெல்லாம் இதாகி ஹார்மோன் எண்டோக்ரைனாலஜிஸ்ட போனா தான் கரெக்ட் ஆகும், அல்லாம கரெக்ட் ஆகாது. அந்த மாதிரி. Agnya, next, what is the one you asked?
Vishuddhi chakra.
Vishuddhi chakra, the throat chakra, where you have the thyroid and parathyroid, where many people have the problem, thyroid problem. Thyroxine hormone is given, the secretions. Then what is the next chakra you asked?
That's all. I think in the chat box we have about heart, Anahata chakra also.
Anahata
sinus gland, right? Sinus gland.
Thymus gland is a gland beneath in between the lungs, and that is the one which gives you it is the lymphatic gland, which is the immune system of the entire body.
Oh, okay.
And the lymphatic fluid is the one which flows in your nerves. See, that is where the connection is, the chakras and this. Okay, now coming to this slide, where now after describing this too clearly, now I am coming to this slide which shows the different emotions of how these chakras harness, and which when it emits out the energy as aura, what happens? Your physical state, here you see in the slide, the physical state which is mentioned in the leg portion and the etheric state. These two things are what? It is associated with your Mooladhara chakra. Mooladhara chakra is something which gives you, as I had mentioned, the base of all your emotions, the decision, the empowerment. Yesterday I had mentioned. Why? Because it is the base where the Kundalini energy of a person is there. What is Kundalini? Kundalini is the power of discretion and decision. That is the energy which we have to harness when we have to ascend like the great masters to achieve and practice. That is where this is mentioned as physical and etheric in this slide. And this is associated with the Mooladhara chakra. Now coming to the astral qualifications, which is mentioned here, the emotions. Astral is what? Astral happens when you desire a lot of things. When you desire, you think, you imagine, you associate with a lot of things, you get premonitions. How you get that? Astral happens when you have creativity in you. Creativity is associated with Swadhisthana chakra. Swadhisthana. Now we are coming from the base to the top. Swadhisthana. Swadhisthana chakra is the creative flow of energy. That is the creation which creates the progeny, and that is associated with the sex organs of a person. When there is kama, and kama can be not only sex, it can be with all sorts of kamas, desires, and that desires is the seat of Swadhisthana chakra. And that is where we have this astral things. And that is where when we go, we mentioned about astral travels in yesterday's this thing when we go to the higher levels. Anyway, that I'll come later. Now coming to the casual. What is casual? Casual and mental, these both things are associated. Casual is associated with the Manipura. Casual, why it is associated with the Manipura chakra? Manipura is the stomach. As I had mentioned, when the stomach is very comfortable, you become very relaxed, and the way you react with people or anything becomes more confident, and you become relaxed and comfortable. And that is when you are more casual in your thinking. You become more, rather than focused, you become more vague because you become more casual, right? That is why the emotions there is the casual with that chakra. When it goes to next, the heart chakra, the heart is a seat which really is many a times thinks of lot of things. That is why in Hindi they say dil. Dil is for heart. Dil venamaya appadinu Tamil solranga. Manasu kavalandi. Manasu they always associated with heart in poems and everything, poets and all. Why? Because that is the seat of your desires in a higher level, not like Swadhisthana, higher level of desires. Swadhisthana has more of the sexual energy, higher level of desires, like all the other things, materialistic things, maybe spiritualistic things, everything, how you harness it is determined by the heart chakra. That is where you have this mental thinking. And then it comes to spiritual. Where does the spiritual come? This is from the Vishuddhi. When your speech, when your communication, when you want to communicate properly, when you want to communicate to the Almighty, that is when you become more spiritual. When you want to communicate to the society, when you want to think larger than yourself, that is, you are thinking of others more than yourself, like saints do. Like saints do to bring in all the upliftment of the society and the humankind. That is when you become spiritual, when your Vishuddhi is very strong. That is the Vishuddhi chakra's energy. And then when it becomes Buddhic. What is Buddhic? Buddhi, as I had mentioned, Buddhi, Manas, Buddhi, and Atma. That is the Atma. That is where you have the Ajna chakra and Sahasrara. Ajna and Sahasrara act together. And that is where you have this. And this is the highest level of your harnessing. That is the Buddhi and this thing. That is why now from this slide, I am describing one important thing. That is why you have the Kundalini Yoga, where they say you have to rise the Kundalini from your Mooladhara chakra to the Sahasrara. Sahasrara, where it is the Buddhic chakra, where you get the spiritual enlightenment, where you get all enlightenment. It is not just spiritual, you get a overall Purushartha, all the qualities of a man or a woman which has to be really in the highest level. That is the fine tuning. That is what they mentioned, the aesthetic output of your aura. Now, taking this slide, we come to the different colors of aura for each chakra. Kindly note that also. Right? Again, I am clarifying one small thing here. Many will have a doubt. This, why I mentioned the Sukshma Chakra, the Parakosha Chakras mainly is because in all the modern texts, though in Granthas, the inner Sukshma Chakras are mentioned to coordinate, why they didn't mention it in the modern texts? Unfortunately, it has become more of a commercial thing. I am sorry to say. They didn't want to give all the knowledge out. And that is why this has not come. This has been a practice always in the humankind. I'm sorry to say this. I should not quote it in the meeting, but I have to tell this. And that's why I gave it out openly, so that, it is important. Then only you can understand and practice it rather than just listening. That's why I had every one of you bring a notebook so that you note down apart from the slides. And this course material will be given to you by Radhika ji, hopefully, so that it will be useful for you to practice and achieve for your day-to-day life rather than just listen and forget, right? It is not like the other spiritual courses where you just listen to mantras and just sometimes chant and forget. It's not like that, right? Now I'm coming to the next this thing without wasting time. I'm coming to the next session of this thing, where we mentioned about the colors of the aura for each chakra, right? Now note down that also, the colors of each chakra. The Mooladhara, we start from the Mooladhara to from the base to the top, from the base to the top. Here, we have the root chakra, the Mooladhara, having a red color of aura generally for everyone. This is a generalized version. For everyone, how is the basic level of aura? Okay, so Mooladhara always is associated with red colors, red aura. Why red aura? Because Mooladhara is a base root level in your body. In the front portion, you have the back portion, you have the Mooladhara chakra, which is the nerve plexus. In the front portion, you have the kidneys, as I had mentioned, the gland, adrenalines and all, which is all reddish in color, because a lot of blood filtration happens in the kidney. You know that kidney filters the blood, and that is how your urine passes out. All the blood filtration happens, and when that doesn't happen properly, that is when you have kidney troubles and you end up in a transplant, right? So this is the red colors associated with root chakra. Then you have the sacral chakra, that is creative energy chakra, that is the Swadhisthana, which has the orange colors of aura. In a normal person, orange colors. I hope everyone is noting down this, and I hope I am a little slower in explaining rather than rushing out. Please tell me if there is any, you are not able to grasp or anything, so that we get a correct picture of it, because this is important to understand rather than just listen and go.
Sir, this reminds me of the good old science in the 7 colors of the light, right? Vibgyor, right? Which is
Vibgyor and the rainbow. Yes, you are 100% right.
So it is it's a 7 spectrum, and the spectrum of the light.
That is what is the basic. See, the science is the basic thing of this, and this is what is the spirituality also. Both were one and the same, and that is why they call it a rainbow. Now coming to yellow color, which is the colors which is emitted out and seen in a human being, normal human being, in the solar plexus, that is the stomach, Manipura chakra. Manipura chakra emits out yellow colors, right? And then now we come to the next chakra, which is the heart chakra, that is Anahatabja. Anahatabja emits out green color and also pink colors. Why green and pink? Everyone will have a question here. Why green and pink? Now I come to the scientific principle here. The heart has both the impure and pure bloods which get corrected. From impure, it becomes pure, right? From the lungs, the pulmonary vein, which reaches the lungs, purifies it and sends it to the heart. And that is how the blood flows to the body. Venous and arterial blood, arteries and veins. Everyone is evident of that basic science. Anyway, I'm not going to the detail of that. I'm just giving you the main point here. The green and pink colors of the heart chakra. Then comes the Vishuddhi chakra, the throat chakra. Vishuddhi chakra is the strongest chakra, as I had mentioned, which is the chakra required for the speech, which is required for the spiritual enlightenment, to have a strong speech and influence lot of the humankind for their goodness. And that is what all the saints in the modern times and in the olden times they used to do through their discourses, through their upadeshas, or whatever they call it. So that is where Vishuddhi chakra is important. And even for us, it is very important in day-to-day communication when we are in a corporate, to influence and to get more, the credit which is required for us, justified credit. And Vishuddhi chakra emits out blue colors, strong blue colors for a normal human being. And it indicates a powerful mind. Strong blue colors indicate powerful mind, and it operates in mental reliance. They are very strong people. And at the same time, they are very secretive people also. They have all the things inside them. And then comes the third eye, that is the Ajna chakra. The Ajna chakra emits out purple colors. Why purple colors? Is because Ajna chakra is the, as I had mentioned, the Sukshma chakra for it is the pineal gland. The pineal gland is purple in color, and that is the reason it emits out purple energies. And the hormone also is melatonin. Anyway, that is a different thing. Now coming to the crown chakra, the ultimate chakra in the 7 chakras, which is in the forehead, the head, and that is white in color, pure white for a normal and an enlightened, moving towards enlightenment person. It is white. Now these colors which I mentioned, again I am mentioning it in a fast way. Root chakra, Muladhara, red colors. Swadhisthana, sacral chakra, orange colors. Solar plexus, Manipura chakra, yellow colors. Heart chakra, Anahatabja, green and pink. Vishuddhi chakra, throat chakra, blue colors. Third eye chakra, Ajna chakra, which is purple colors. And crown chakra, Sahasrara chakra, which emits white colors. These are the basic colors. And this, now I am telling you something which is very important. These are the basic colors for a human being, and for any species. But then this get churned and get changing in every day, each day, with our emotions, mood swings, the emotional part of us, the laughter, the sadness. With each thing, each of these chakras and the colors they emit as aura. The colors are nothing but the auras which are seen in this slide. These auras keep changing in each day as you churn. That is why they say churning of energies. Why churning of energies happens? Churning of energies happens because of our mood swings, emotions, and emotional, because we are an emotional being, human being. This happens not only to us, it happens to great masters and saints. And that is why you would have seen in all stories in olden days also, all the great masters also had their falls and rises because of their emotional output. And that varies their aura, and that is why they always harness it again and again, rising it from Kundalini to Sahasrara, each time having certain falls and again going up in the ladder. So you can imagine, if we practice every day, we can also try to achieve a lot of things, at least if not to the level of maybe Buddha, at least to a level which is much higher than what we are today, which will benefit us in a lot of ways, both in the materialistic and also the spiritual way, and to be a very relaxed, peaceful, happy, blissful individual, right? And that is what we are going to do tomorrow, day after, in the basic course of methodology and practices, where we will be talking about how to identify your own aura and how to find it out, and how to balance and correct and make corrections and improvise on it yourself by daily practices. Now, coming to the next very important thing which we are mentioning today, which is very good and important for you to understand, which we had mentioned yesterday itself in the mantra form, is for each chakra the mantra which will enhance the energy. Why mantras? Mantras are sounds which will give you a lot of energy. Is everyone able to hear? Please come back.
Yes, Mama.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Why I asked that?
Yes.
Why I asked that
Yes,
is because in my screen somewhere it showed leave, L-E-A-V-E. So I was wondering what happened. Anyway, now coming to the mantras associated. Why mantras? Mantras are sounds, syllable sounds, which is bijakshara, which is mentioned in Sanskrit as syllables. That is consonants, vowels, and consonants, which are the sounds which are very powerful, because you know sound waves, according to science, is very powerful, and that is the reason even in an explosion, it is a sound which creates the cracks and destruction, and it is a sound which creates a lot of things. Music, it is a sound which creates a lot of soothing effect for us. So sounds are very important. And deities, all the positive energy, deities are nothing but the energies which are concentrated in different forms. The deities get energized and they are pulled to give you the energy and bless you when you use these sounds. And that is why for each chakra we have a mantra which will be very effective if you chant and practice this harnessing of the chakras. So now we'll do a small brief session today in this process, just to warm up and give you a small indication what tomorrow and day after we'll do to further enhance your practices and really practice when you go to the other levels. So regarding that, now I am coming to the mantras which is associated with that. You can see in the slide here very clearly, the Mooladhara chakra, yesterday I had mentioned, has the deity Ganpati associated with it, Ganesha, the Lord of removal of obstacles in any thing. And Ganpati, when you chant the Ganpati mantra, which is the bijakshara of Ganpati is Gam, the letter Gam. That is why you use the Omkara with Gam, which pulls the energy and harnesses the energy of your Mooladhara. That means it will start rising your Kundalini. So it rises your Kundalini above, so that you rise and ascend in your ladder of chakra, healing and harnessing and replenish. So how do you do that? Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. The mantra is chanted odd number of times. You can do it either 3 or 5 or 9. So I request all of you to do 5 times this Om Gang Ganapataye. Now, of course, wherever you are sitting, you just use this mudra. See, mudras which are mentioned in text in the net or whatever, which I earlier, as I had told you, are very complex mudras, which are tantric mudras. Here we are not doing tantra, we are doing something to achieve spirituality and also to achieve a scientific upliftment of ourselves, to achieve benefits. So I give you the simple grantha methods of mudras right now, which you can note down. Of course, we'll picturize it later, I think, and Radhika ji will give it to you, which will be more easier as a course material. Right now, I'm explaining this. So I hope everyone is able to see. I am just showing you the mudra. These 2 hands, your right hand below and the left hand above, just keep it like this. You are able to see it? Just keep it below your navel. Just keep it below your navel and just close your eyes and deep breathe and chant 5 times Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Everyone do that and feel the energy. Release the chakra. When everyone is done, please let me know. We go to the next chakra.
Five times, right? Shiv Kumar Garu? 5 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's done 5 times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It is done.
Yes, Shiv Kumar Garu.
Okay. Now we go to the next chakra, and when once we finish the chakras, I'll ask you how it was, because it is releasing your chakras today for the first time, to release it and incur the energies flowing inside. That is what we have been doing. Just as a a precursor, it's a warm up. Now coming to the next chakra, that is the Swadhisthana, where we have Brahma as the deity. Brahma, the creator, because Swadhisthana is the creative energy, as I had told you earlier, the creative progeny energy. So now there we have the mantra Om Paramahamsaya Namaha. 3 times of this to be chanted with this mudra. Is everyone able to see? Is everyone able to see?
Radhika, if you stop sharing the screen now, then yeah.
That is your left hand above your right hand in this way, put up above your navel, just cover your navel and close your eyes and chant this 3 times. This is the mudra.
I'm sorry to disturb you. It is left above the right or right above the left?
The left in the navel and above that the right.
Oh.
Sorry, the right. Sorry, I'm sorry. The right above your navel and above that your left.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Om Paramahamsaya Namaha. Om Paramahamsaya Namaha. Om Paramahamsaya Namaha. Is it done?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now we come to the next chakra, the Manipura chakra, the stomach, the solar plexus energy. Here, Narayana is the deity, Ananta Paryanta Shayana Prabho, the yogic posture of sleeping, and who is a Jagat Palaka, the protector of the universe. So now here, the mantra you have seen in the slide, it is Om Klim Narayanaya Namaha. And how do you do the mudra? This is the way. Are you able to see this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hold this above in the stomach, just below your chest, and just touch it in your stomach, and then close your eyes and chant this mantra and 8 times. Ashtakshara mantra is Narayana mantra. That is the significance. That's why we are quoting it as 8 times.
So for this, with only one hand.
Right hand?
With only one hand, the right hand.
Okay. Can you share the mantram, please?
The mantra is Om Klim Narayanaya Namaha. 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 Om Klim Narayanaya Namaha.
Yes.
Yes, it is done. Now we move to the next chakra, the Anahatabja, that is the heart chakra. Here we have the deity, either Dakshinamurti or Hayagriva, who are the deities of Vidya. Yes? Can I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. Here we have the deities, either Dakshinamurti or Hayagriva, who are the deities of your Vidya, all the Vidya, that is all the education, all the Vidya, and heart, where all the desires happens once we are educated. In the sense, it's not the school or college study, the basic intellect. So here we have Dakshinamurti or Hayagriva as the deity, and the mantra associated with this is Vidya Medo Esha Prajnam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Vidya Medo Esha Prajnam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Otherwise, we have Jnananandaya Namaha. Om Jnananandaya Namaha. Okay, you do this mantra 12 times with this mudra, where in the heart you have to touch like this. You know, in the chest, mid of the chest, keep it like this, both the hands, and close your eyes. And this is the mudra. And do either of these mantras. Each one can take their choice. In this mantra, you have 2 options, either Dakshinamurti or Hayagriva, and accordingly do. And the number of times I think is mentioned in the slide, you would have seen, and that is 12 times.
Yes, Shivakumar garu.
Yes, now we are moving on to the next chakra, the important one, the Vishuddhi chakra, that is the throat chakra. And here we have the deity Saraswati, Para Saraswati Namaha. The mantra is Para Om Para Saraswati Namaha. And here the mudra, because it's the throat, both these fingers, are you able to see the thumb? The thumb has to be placed exactly here, in between the central portion of the neck, both sides of it. You are able to see? This is the mudra. And you have to chant the mantra the number of times which is mentioned in the slide, which is given. Closing your eyes, keeping these two fingers as mudras here, the thumbs. The left thumb on the left side, the right thumb on the right side, and 6 times. Om Para Saraswati Namaha. Om Para Saraswati Namaha. Om Para Saraswati Namaha. Om Para Saraswati Namaha.
Yes, Shivakumar garu.
Yes. Now coming to the next chakra, the third eye, Ajna chakra, which is the seat of all the enlightenment and strength of your mind. There you have the pineal gland, and there the mudra is these 2 fingers. In between your eyes, in the central portion, the small fingers, these small fingers, you place both here, and then you chant the mantra Subram Om Subrammanyoham 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 Subramanya. It is the deity is Kartikeya Subramanya and Om Subrammanyoham 6 times. The mudra is this.
Yes.
Yes. Now we are moving to the main chakra, that is the Sahasrara, the topmost, the crown chakra, where you have the deity Durga, Ashtadashabhuja Durga, 18-handed Durga. So Dum Durgaye Namaha, Om Dum Durgaye Namaha is the mantra. And the Sahasrara is like a lotus, as I had mentioned, the 76,000 neurons which are out of the 1 trillion in the Sahasrara. And there you have the lotus. So your hands has to be like this, in the above your head, touching both the portions. Why both the portions? This portion for your back brain, left and back brain, this portion for the right brain, the cerebrum and the cerebellum, this portion for your medulla oblongata. This is the way you have it, like a lotus, but like this. Got it? And 18 times, because it is Ashtadashabhuja Durga. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha, Om Dum Durgaye Namaha, Om Dum Durgaye Namaha, Om Dum Durgaye Namaha.
Yes, Shivakumar garu.
Now we are moving to one more slide. Before that, I have to mention an important thing. As I have told you in between, in all the texts except the Granthas in olden days, this one point was secretively not included. That is the Brahmarandra, which is classified either as a chakra or as a point, which is very important in the center of everyone's head here, where they used to say, even in olden days, when you touch a child which is born, they say, don't touch here. It is very soft. Why? Because for each one of us, there is a small gap, a space between the cranium and the skull here, which is known as the Brahmarandra. And Brahmarandra is the point where all the enlightened souls get their Kapala Moksha. The soul goes away from here. And that is happening that happens for very much enlightened. When the Sahasrara is enlightened to the maximum, that is when this happens. For souls who have the Sahasrara enlightened to the maximum, they get their moksham from there. So that is known as Brahmarandra Chakra. And we have to activate in the aura practices the Brahmarandra also, so that why Brahmarandra? Because that is the point which actually equilibrates all these chakras, which is not mentioned in any text except the Granthas, which is secretly mentioning this, and nobody openly says this. This is the portion which has to be actually then, they say now there is a secret code for everything. This is the secret code. And here, what is the mudra? These two fingers, you are able to see these two fingers, this and this finger, and you keep it, place it here, don't press it much, just keep it in the center, exact center portion of your head, and that is Brahmarandra Chakra. And there the deity, please note down because that is not there in the slide, there the deity is actually Shasta, that is Ayyappa, Shasta, Bhutanatha. Why Bhutanatha specifically? He is the Lord, like Parameshwara, ultimately the son of Parameshwara, who takes away the soul to the next journey. And that is the Brahmarandra Chakra's significance. So here you have to put Om Shastre Namaha. The mantra is Om Shastre Namaha. And it has to be chanted 4 times. This is the chakra. Om Shastre Namaha. Om Shastre Namaha, Om Shastre Namaha, Om Shastre Namaha. I hope everybody was able to listen to this last one correctly.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Now we go to the next slide, which is very interesting. I hope it is regarding actually the ascended masters and their auras, which is very interesting. We go quickly into this. This is where you can see the slide, our great Buddha, who is the founder of Buddhism and who has done Navayana Yoga. It is known as Navayana Yoga. The amount of sadhana which he did, and the sadhana was named, the methodology was named Navayana Yoga, which was really, which led him to enlightenment. And what aura you see and what chakra he has harnessed, because each saint has harnessed one or a combination of chakras where they achieved different enlightenments and levels of enlightenments and powers, and each one's nature was accordingly different. The aura output was different. So what was Buddha's aura and Navayana Yoga and what he did? Buddha's aura and harnessing was to do with the Sahasrara Chakra. Sahasrara was the chakra where Buddha had his energy harnessed, and it was the highest form of energy, and that is why it was more sattvic. It was more sattvic, which was more spiritualistic. It was more meditative, meditation oriented rather than ritualistic oriented. That was what was Navayana Yoga, and that where the Sahasrara energy was harnessed. And you can make out from the previous slides where we gave you the details regarding the colors of Sahasrara. That was the energy which was harnessed to the maximum. What was the color of Sahasrara? Anyone is now, I hope many of you would have almost by hearted this. So can you say what was the color of Sahasrara, the crown chakra? White. So that is white colors, right? So that is the halo. Buddha has a white shine all around him. You can see the deep inside white color. Sahasrara was harnessed. Likewise, you have other people who harness the Sahasrara also among the slides. Now, before coming to that, we are coming to the next person, the highest soul, that is our Jesus. Jesus was a saint who harnessed the Ajna Chakra, the third eye, and that is the reason he was able to do the Ajna. Ajna was what? Ordering. He was able to create an order. He was able to create a whole religion. He He was able to create a lot sect of good Sishyas, and he was able to give lot of preaching which was in the right way. And that was the Agnya Chakra harnessing. And Agnya Chakra, what was the color? Everyone is aware now already. Agnya Chakra is emitting for a normal person in a higher level purple colors when it is balanced. So it was more of purple colors which was emitted by Jesus, and that harnessing was done. A great soul who you harnessed Agnya Chakra. Now coming to Raghavendra, the great saint who is still live, the great saint in the Jiva Samadhi is still live for another 300 years, according to his own version. Now coming to Raghavendra, what was the chakra which was harnessed by Raghavendra? There was a combination of two chakras. One was the Vishuddhi and the Sahasrara. One was the Vishuddhi and the other was Sahasrara. Both these chakras were harnessed by Raghavendra, and the output of his aura was both these chakras. So what were the colors which were the output? What was the strength? Now you can make out from the colors which I have already given you, right? So Raghavendra's color of aura with the Vishuddhi and the Sahasrara was white, a combination of white, and also Vishuddhi, a combination of blue, strong blue. So that much powerful a person. No doubt, obviously, he was a Rama Bhakta, Mula Rama Prarthana, Rama who was blue in color according to the scriptures, right? I'm just quoting as a combination, right? But then still the chakras and harnessing was this. Now we come to the next great seer, the latest Mata Amritanandamayi, who is live in the physical body among us today also, who is known as the embracing, hugging mother. What was the chakra which she harnessed, and how millions of people are attracted and they get comfort when they reach out to her? It is the Anahatabja Chakra. Anahatabja Chakra, which is the heart chakra. Heart chakra, the heart and desire. Everyone's heart gets comforted when they hug, when they see her. And that was the chakra which was harnessed by Amritanandamayi. Now we are going to Paramahamsa Yogananda, who is very famous. All of you would have, even many of you would have had a chance to read his book, The Autobiography of an Yogi, and many ashrams in Canada and States. And Yogananda had his Mooladhara and Sahasrara chakras, a combination of the root chakra and the Sahasrara. So now you can imagine this was the highest form where both the chakras from Kundalini to Sahasrara was equally used. So that means all the chakras were used. And that is the experiences of Paramahamsa Yogananda. And anyone getting a chance who have not read the book, go through the book. You will really enjoy the Autobiography of an Yogi. Right? Now coming to the next seer, the great Mahavir Babaji and Ramana Maharshi, both in different times and still eternal. Mahavir Babaji and Ramana Maharshi were the two seers who used Agnya and Sahasrara equally. Agnya and Sahasrara. So the output of aura and the colors is evident to you. Agnya and Sahasrara for both of them. And now coming to the next, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Sharada Devi, and Vivekananda. What was there? Vivekananda obviously was a Shishya of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Everyone knows that. And Vivekananda was a great seer, who was a great orator, and who in those days came to States, Chicago, and established a lot of ideals. And he was a great orator. So what was Vivekananda ji using? He was using and harnessing Vishuddhi Chakra, obviously being an orator, and the strength of the throat chakra and a strong mind was what was going through. So the colors, you know. And now coming to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji and Sharada Devi, both of them being the gurus of Vivekananda ji, also had Vishuddhi, but a combination of Agnya also. And that is why they were able to set an order of a society, an order of Sishyas. And that is the reason it happened. Now coming to the next group of seers. Now we have the Trinity, the latest Trinity, a few hundred, maybe 150 years old. Trinity, the musical Trinity, Muthuswami Dikshita, Tyagaraja Swami, and Shyama Shastri. Everyone knows that Muthuswami Dikshidhar was a Sri Vidya Upasaka in the greatest level, and Tyagaraja Swami was a great Rama Bhakta and Bhakti Marga, and Shyama Shastri equally was a great Bhakta and of Kamakshi Ambal. And all the three, out of them, Muthuswami Dikshidhar and Tyagaraja Swami were using mainly the Sahasrara. Sahasrara was mainly used, and that is the reason their aura was more related to pure white. Now Shyama Shastriji was using the same aura, the chakra, which Amritandamayi ji nowadays use. That is the Anahata Abja chakra, the heart chakra. This is the output of their aura. Now coming to the next says. Now here we have Andal, who is a very historical this thing, and then we have Meera in a different time zone. These both, and also here one slide which is not here, but I am just including that. Rasia ji. Rasia ji is one of the Sufi saints in Islam, the only Sufi saint in Islam, a lady saint, who is in the same time period of Meera ji. And these two were great souls who were using the Sahasrara chakra. And Andal was using the Manipura chakra. Andal was using the Manipura chakra. And there is no doubt for that, because Uppaliyappan and Ranganatha were her, favorite. And Manipura is associated with Narayana and the energy. But Rasia and Meera were using the Sahasrara, Nirvikalpa Bhakti, where they didn't bother about their body, they didn't bother about anything, and they were all mixed up with the Almighty. I hope you got the idea of the aura output of these masters. Why this was shown is that we also, each one of us could ascend like the ascending masters. As I had mentioned, if not to the highest level of Sahasrara, at least to a little higher level in our Laukik world, in our materialistic and spiritual world, in our own zones, to be more better individuals and enjoy the benefits of it. And tomorrow, day after, we will do the practice sessions and also methodologies, which will be the basic course material. And higher levels are, of course, there. Whoever is interested, later we can take on. But first, let us practice this. Any questions are there? Because I think your time zones are getting this thing. I am okay with my time, but it's already, I think, time for you. So please let me know.
Mama, I hope the Mudra's picture will be sent to us so that we can start.
Yes, I am going to ask Radhika ji to prepare the Mudras and send it to you so that it will be easier, because the course material has that also. Unfortunately, the slide we couldn't, because I have to, this is a Grantha Mudra, so I have to make a photograph of my own hands and do the Mudra. That is the reason the slide was not prepared. So I'll ask. Now I think Radhika ji also knows the Mudra, so I'll again talk to her and make a picture of everything and send it to you all.
Okay, sure.
And any other doubts, please come back whenever you people have time to Radhika ji. So she'll connect it to me and I can tell you, because the course is for a practical session, not just to listen. Again, I am repeating. Okay, and feel free to express your views, then only we get to understand this course. It is not like Sundarakantam or Ramayanam or Lalita Sahasranamam. This is more of a practical spiritual course and a scientific spiritual combination. So we have to be very clear with that. And I want you to enjoy the benefits rather than just listening and satisfying me. I want it to be benefited for you. Exactly. This is what we used to do in Abu Dhabi and Dubai for many people as a course in the highest level of 5 levels. In Sri Lanka also, Sri Lankan people were very much into the 4th level. That is what was going there. Each one has a, choice. Anyway, that's the difference.
Shivakumar, yes. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it possible to harness all the chakras?
100% possible, 100%. That is where I gave you the example of Paramahamsa Nanda Yogi, who used from Kundalini to Sahasrara. So it's like a combination. You can use one, you can use two, you can use many. It depends on your harnessing. And that is the practices which we are going to give tomorrow and day after, which will be more practical.
So during the practices, we will know which chakra of
is having a hampering in each one of you. Yes, which is having a hampering in each one of you, so that individual session can also be done after that in next level, which will be the next level will be individual practices. In the sense, all of you will be there, but in the group itself, we'll do it as practical individual this thing, identifying each one's this thing in the screen so that I can tell you what is wrong and where to correct, and you can do that. That is the next level of the course.
Okay.
But tomorrow, day after, we'll do the other practices, general all practices to be put in the practical way, which you can start from tomorrow, day after, afterwards, every day in your life. And any doubts, you can come back also. And the course material will be given to you.
And Sivkumar Garu, is it normal to get severe headaches when you're doing this?
Actually speaking, this is a normal incidence, because what happens is your pressure levels, your it all gets equilibrated. So there will be a small headache and this thing, which is not a great problem. Don't worry about it. Just have a glass of cool water. That is enough to clear everything. There is nothing to worry. It will not create any sort of a problem for you.
Thank you, Mr. Sivkumar.
And again, I am coming to tell you one more thing important. Yesterday, we had mentioned when somebody asked a beautiful question, whether this chanting can be done anytime. Yes, you can do it anytime. Only thing is you have to sit and concentrate in a place rather than running around. Right?
Yes, yes, and
Yes. Any other questions? I would like each one of you to today, when you sit at home, maybe today it's late, tomorrow morning, try this mudras which we described today and concentrate, so that further warm up and the chakras will start activating. You know, activation has to happen so that corrections will happen in our body metabolism itself, and there will be a lot of corrections in digestion, everything in our body, which will be good for our day-to-day life. Let us try it out. Anyway, I'll send you the mudras through Radhika ji, but then still you people have noted down, so please start. And that's why I gave you a warm-up session today. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. So
Yes.
while listening to some of the spiritual speaker, Sri Dushyant Sridhar ji's lectures, what I have generally heard is he says that in general it's mentioned in the scriptures that women shouldn't be chanting the Pranavaksharam Om, but he wouldn't pressurize it, but he says that is what is being said. Of course, from MSMA to MLV, everybody has said that in their chanting and Vishnu Sahasranama, we see that. But what is your take on it? Is there anything?
Actually, why they have mentioned the basic thing behind the basic truth is why they have mentioned that okay, you don't chant. Why? Because when you chant, if there is a sound disruption, in the sense you are not able to chant it properly, the letters, then the the effect of the sound becomes different. That is why they didn't want. But now most of us are aware of chanting Om, and I think even a child chants it properly, so there is nothing wrong. That is why I was saying scientifically there is nothing wrong. But they did it with precaution. That was the only thing. They also meant good only, but with a precaution, nothing else.
Oh.
And here there is a small mention of one thing which I would say. Why in those days, there may be a question, why in those days Vishnu Sahasranamam everybody used to chant, and everybody was saying Lalita Sahasranamam paathu dhaan chant pannam, choose chant cheyali, evaraina upatesham istene chant cheyali. Why? Because Lalita Sahasranamam is more than a mantra, it is a tantra, because it is full of chakras and healing rather than a chanting of a mantra. If you decipher it, that's why I said the seminar can be kept where everyone can participate. It's just a workshop where Lalita Sahasranama can be deciphered and you get the scientific theory behind it. It's not a mantra, it is a tantra where you get all the techniques. And Vishnu Sahasranama is a mantra. That's why they said it's easy to chant. You can chant everything.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So is that the same thing that goes with the other things like Rudra or the Rudra chanting la solralliya? So unless you are really, really good about pronunciation, so much to the very precise, sound emanating, following the phonetics and everything, don't recite them, even if you say the Shama mantra and all that stuff. Is that a good reason for that as well? Or
there is a good reason. There is a good reason. Why na Rudratla Patelna, when you see Rudram, Chamakam is something where you have your wishes. Chamakam is what? It is a wishes. You are quoting almost 300 and odd wishes that I want this, that I want that in a human level, all the materialistic things. Where when you mention a material, suppose it's like Kumbhakarna, who wanted something else, and when his Vishuddhi broke, he said Nidra instead of something else, which went into totally a disruption, and he had to sleep all time. So that is why they mentioned that. But here, when we are mentioning in this chakras, the basic levels which I have given you, it is a small, very clear Pranavakshara and only a basic Bija mantra, which is very, very powerful, at the same time, very simple in pronunciation without any disruption. That is why I bravely gave you this, where you people can chant it without any problems.
Thank you, sir. This is very, very extremely.
Please practice. Please, I would wish everyone to tomorrow morning, please practice the mudras and warm up your body so that there will be a lot of change. I want you to try it. There will be no deleterious effects. It's only a correction point. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I hope everyone have taken notes and have understood today and can practice. And we meet up again tomorrow with more details and practices and an interesting session, hopefully by the Almighty's grace. And let us all wait for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shivkumar.
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice day.
Thank you so much, Shivkumar Garu.
Thank you, indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Take care.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you.